Hello, Year 10, and welcome to Lesson 4, where you get to plan your own speech. So, just like your previous video and your previous lesson, all of your planning lessons are going to follow the same structure, okay? So, you're going to get in the habit of planning this way so you know exactly what to do when you get into that exam. So, every single planning lesson will follow the same steps. I'm just going to walk you through what those steps are. So, task 1, which should take you about 5 minutes, is just annotating the question. Now, every question will have a quote, and then it'll have some instructions about the type of writing we want you to write and what you have to do in that writing. So today, powerful people are selfish people. They might start out good, but power always corrupts. No one uses their power to help others, they only help themselves. Write a speech for your school debate team in which you persuade your classmates of your opinion on this statement. Now, in every single thing that you write for this question, because it's all about having a viewpoint, it's best to only argue one side, okay? So don't give me, oh, well, this side's right, but this side could also be right, and who knows? You need to have a really clear argument from start to finish, and you need to always stick to the same point, okay? So that's how you're going to be persuasive. So you're always going to be asked the same 3 questions about the question. You're going to be asked which words or phrases in the quote are important. So persuade is obviously a key word here. Speech, probably another key word. Your school debate team, probably important about the context. But also have a look at the quote itself. So powerful people are selfish people. I'll probably be highlighting selfish here. They might start out good, but power always corrupts. I'll probably be highlighting power always corrupts there. Is that something that I agree or disagree with? No one uses their power to help others. That's something that I could argue for or against, isn't it? They only help themselves. So I'd be splitting that into little parts, and I'd just be thinking, first of all, what's my initial reaction to that? Do I agree? Do I not? What does it make us think of? Who does it make me think of? Does it make me think of any particular examples of people who started out good and maybe turned evil? Does it maybe make me think of Macbeth, guys? This is what this is all linked to. So, first of all, words and phrases that you think are important, what do they make you think? Do you agree with it? Why or why not? And then this final bullet point, very, very important, make sure that you've identified the purpose, the audience, and the form. So we've gone through these in lesson 2. They're on page 3 if you are unsure, but your purpose is why you're writing. So here your purpose is to persuade. Your audience is who you're writing for. So you're writing for your school debate team, your classmates, or people of your age. So think carefully about the kind of examples you use and how you're going to engage them. And then finally, what form are you writing in? What style of writing? So you're going to write a speech, okay? So everything that you looked at last lesson that told you that this was a speech, it started by greeting the audience, it ended by thanking them for the time. We expect to see that in your speech. So you'll always be asked those 3 questions and be given 5 minutes just to pull apart this week's question, okay? That's task 1. Task 2 then. We're going to give you some time to plan. You've got 20 minutes to plan. Let me just scroll back up there. This is a grid that I would use, but you absolutely do not have to, okay? So what I've done is break down the statement into 3 different things that I could argue for and against, okay? So I've gone for powerful people or selfish people. They might start out good, but power always corrupts, and no one uses their power to help others. And I'm going to think of reasons why I might agree, but I'm also going to do the other side. Now, I know that I've told you that you're only going to argue one, but I need to make sure that I've come up with the best possible examples. So even if I personally don't think this, but I could write a much better speech writing something that I don't actually think, then I'm going to go with that, okay? Because nobody's going to check that I believe what I'm writing, but the examiner's only going to read the speech and work out if it's good and persuasive or not, okay? So this is why I want you to brainstorm both sides, just so that you're making sure that you're thinking about it from every angle. So if we look at this print next to task 2 then, it tells you that you've got 20 minutes to do your brainstorming to get your ideas ready. Use your ideas from lesson 1, so go back to that page 2 grid where we've thought about power. Think about how you might use Macbeth in your speech. Think about how you might use Trump or Putin if you thought about those. Think about that idea that you really spend some time on in lesson 1. I've also given you a video for some inspiration on powerful people. Okay, so most of the time in these planning lessons, you'll have some extra information to look at if you need it, if you're struggling. Finally, you've got recommendation there of just Googling it. If you're struggling, Google. Yeah, this is the benefit of working electronically, working from home. So here's my grid that I would use to plan both sides. As I say, if you want to ignore those 3 statements and just really think about what you want to say, that's absolutely fine as long as you're answering the question. Okay, so once you've thought about both sides, task 3, which shouldn't take you any time at all, is simply to pick which side that you're going to argue. Okay, which one has your best points? Do you agree or do you disagree? Which side are you going for? Task 4 then is the top tip. So every time you have a planning lesson, I'll have a little YouTube tutorial for you that's only 5 minutes long. Okay, so today's on rhetorical questions, how to make them good rather than rubbish. We've got ones on things like colons, how to lay out a letter, and also how to make your evidence really believable. So every time you come to plan, I'll be telling you how to make the most out of these techniques that we expect to see in your work. So take 5 minutes just to watch that video in your planning lesson when you've decided what it is you're going to argue. Your final task in your planning lesson is, using yesterday's model for inspiration, plan some techniques to include. So that means that when you come next lesson to write your speech, you're not just starting from scratch with absolutely nothing to put in. Okay, you've already written a few little gems that will serve you well. So all the things that you saw yesterday or last lesson in that speech, you're going to start to write your own that links to your argument. So if you are arguing that power always corrupts, try a rhetorical question that suggests that. Okay, so watch that video on rhetorical questions and write your own on power. Try a bit of repetition. Which word might you repeat? Put that in the box. Have you got a personal story? It might literally be, when I was at school and I read Macbeth, I thought. Okay, so try and draw on all those ideas that you've been thinking about for weeks and weeks now. That should take you 15 minutes. And as with your analysis lesson, if you don't get that table filled in, that's absolutely fine. You might think, you know what, I'm just not a repetition kind of writer. I don't need to repeat myself. I can get my point across just by saying it once. And you might just want to skip that. You might think, you know what, everyone loves an anecdote, but in this particular context, I just don't think it's going to work. And I'm going to skip that and I'm going to move on to my triplet or my statistic. Okay, so don't feel like you have to fill in that entire table. Get as much done as you can, but only what you think is appropriate. Good luck.